Good morning, everyone. Let's try again. Oh, that, I can hear that. All right. I hope it was worth waiting for. Okay. So, my name's Ken. I'm filling in for Reverend Emma this morning while she and Heather are on a well deserved day off. We wish them the very best today and look forward to having them back with us next week. We want to welcome all who gathered together today, here, there, and everywhere. This is indeed God's house, a place of prayer for all. For who? Thank you. We're going to do a little back and forth conversation today, so just hang on tight, all right? I have a few community related announcements before we begin today. Thanks to Corey A. and Vicky for providing social hospitality today. Yay! Wonderful. This is another way that you can help to nourish our community. And if you wish to sign up, there's sign up sheet rather, is on the table in the social area. As most of you know, Dale is beginning a new round of chemo, and emails, notes, cards, occasional meals, casseroles, sandwiches, and love are all welcome. Our congregational care team and connection coordinator Jen has set up an online meal train that will make this easy. The link is in the e-blast that goes out each week, as well as the link to the caring page for Dale. Thank you so much, Jen, for making this easy. If you have any questions, please reach out to Reverend Emma or Jen. And now, if there's no more community announcements, symbolic of being present here now, please take a moment to turn off your cell phones, William. Turn off the cell phones. Set them aside or set them to silent operation. Take a beat. Take a breath. Hold this moment. You are here now among friends. Center yourself and hold peace in your hearts as you prepare yourself for our worship. And wish peace to all, even those who do not wish peace to us.
Good morning, y'all. Good morning. David came through with his threat about getting me a shirt.
I told you I would.
It was sitting on my chair when I first walked in. I thought, I'm just going to turn around and go right back home. But the only reason why I like it, not that it's a Hawaiian shirt, but it's got Billy Bob on it. So, so thank you, David.
You're welcome.
I'm just hoping it shrinks and maybe I can give it as a baby present to the next one of my friends has a shower. So, my name is T, and I'm co-lead of the MCC Northern Virginia's Animal Ministry, along with Genevieve, who is currently, I believe, in San Diego. Thank you. We bring illumination into our space this morning with our candles and with words adapted from the Reverend Dr. Eric Heller Wagner. Blessed is the fire that burns deep in the soul. It is the flame of the human spirit touched into being by the mystery of life. It is the fire of reason, the fire of compassion, the fire of community, the fire of justice, the fire of faith. It is the fire of loving, burning deep into the human heart, the divine glow in every life.
Our preparation today will be the same as last week. Over my head. And many of you know it. You're welcome to join
Good morning. This is our time when we have community prayer. So if you would just join me as we go boldly before the throne of grace, and we mention to everyone our joys and concerns, and we share them with each other. Dear loving Creator, we thank you for this time that we can come together. We thank you that we believe you hear us and that your ear is inclined. We know that you are aware of the struggles, of the sorrows, of the joys, and all the emotions in between. Today we offer special prayer for Demeter, that he would have clear guidance and clarity as he interacts with his mom who has just joined a very conservative church. We offer prayers of strength and continued healing for T. Prayers of healing, encouragement, and strength for Jaime and Lolita as they continue their treatments for cancer, and they still continue to celebrate their lives. We offer prayers of healing and strength, endurance for the long road ahead for Dale as he continues his treatment for cancer. We offer prayers of patience, comfort for Cornelius as he prepares for additional medical tests in the coming month. We offer prayers for those that have employment issues, for those that have lost their job or seeking new jobs, for those that are in the midst of change from retirement. May all of them find your calm and your peace in the midst of significant change and uncertainty. Today we offer prayers of peace and presence for the world we live in. Prayers for all those everywhere, multiple nations and multiple crises. The list is so long, and yet we know that you know each and every person that's being affected. Those that are in the midst of crisis and suffering, those that feel helpless as they watch. But you are not helpless. You are with all who suffer, with all who are anxious, with all that grieve. And we ask you today, afresh and anew, to provide your presence, which covers multitudes of situations. Now, if there are any names you would wish to offer up in prayer today, just say the name out loud where you are. We'll just take a silent moment as we continue to think about the prayers that are in our heart. There are many times that words can't seem to express it properly. But God knows and the Spirit hears. And all God's children say, Amen.
Good morning. Ken seems anxious to get up here and give us his message. Our first reading this morning comes from the Gospel of John, chapter 21, verses 1 through 17 and 19b. After these things, Jesus showed himself again to the disciples by the Sea of Tiberias, known as the Sea of Galilee. And he showed himself in this way. Gathered there were Simon Peter, Thomas, called the twin, Nathanael of Cana in Galilee, the sons of Zebedee, and 2 other disciples. And Simon Peter said to them, I'm going fishing. And they said to him, We'll go with you. And they went out and got into the boat. But all through the night they caught nothing. And just after daybreak, Jesus stood on the beach, though none of the disciples knew that it was Jesus. And Jesus said to them, Have you caught anything, lads? And they answered him, Not a thing. Well, throw your net off the starboard side of the boat, he said, and you'll find something. So they made a cast, and they caught so many fish they couldn't haul the net in. And then the disciple whom Jesus loved cried out to Peter, It's the teacher. And upon hearing this, Simon Peter threw on his cloak, for he was naked, and jumped into the water. But the other disciples came in the boat, towing the net full of fish, for they were not far from the beach, only about 100 yards off. And when they landed on the beach, they saw a charcoal fire there, with fish and bread already being grilled. And Jesus said to them, Bring some of the fish that you have just caught. So Simon Peter went aboard and hauled ashore the net full of large fish, 153 of them. And though there were so many, the net was not torn. And Jesus said to them, Come and have breakfast. Now, none of the disciples dared to ask him, Who are you? Because they knew it was the teacher. And Jesus came and took bread and gave it to them, and did the same with the fish. And this marked the 3rd time that Jesus had appeared to the disciples after being raised from the dead. When they had finished breakfast, Jesus said to Simon Peter, Simon Ben-John, do you love me more than these? And Peter said, Yes, Rabbi, you know that I love you. And Jesus said to him, Feed my lambs. A second time Jesus put the question, Simon Ben-John, do you love me? And he said to him, Yes, Rabbi, you know that I love you. And Jesus replied, Tend my sheep. A third time Jesus asked, Simon Ben-John, do you love me? And Peter felt hurt because Jesus asked him, Do you love me a third time? And so he said, You know everything, Rabbi. You know that I love you. And Jesus said, Feed my sheep. And after this, he said to Peter, Follow me.
Good morning. That was a long one, Kurt. Good job. All right, my name is Margot. Hi, and our second reading this morning is from theologian, pastor, author, and professor of theological symbolism, Reverend Dr. Leonard Sweet. There is an old saying, fishing isn't just fishing. Similarly, eating isn't just eating. Food connects us to one another while setting us apart, giving us a unique tribal identity. In Jesus' day, Jewish authorities protected their identity by not eating with sinners and people of bad repute. But Jesus didn't care about a holy table, as the religious establishment defined holy. For Jesus, a holy table was one that was open to anyone, a table where all God's children were present. That holy table can be anywhere, in a homeless shelter, in a cafe, in an online chat room, at a casino, even on a beach. Anywhere grace is needed. Jesus didn't keep a moral table. He kept a healing table. People who sat at table with Jesus didn't see him primarily as a moral teacher, but as a healer and a friend. For Jesus, the very thing that set his followers apart is what united them as a group. Whatever you do, whatever you do for one of the least of these, you do for me. Matthew 25:40.
Please join our song of response. Won't you let me be your servant, number 539. Won't you let me be your servant? Let me be as Christ in you. Pray that I may have the grace to let you be my servant. We are pilgrims on a journey. We are travelers on the road. We are here to help each other go a mile and better. I will hold the Christ light for you in the shadow of your fear. I will hold my hand out to you, speak the peace you long to hear. I will weep when you are weeping, when you laugh, I'll laugh with you. I will share your joy and sorrow till we see this journey through. When we sing to God in heaven, we shall find such harmony. For the more we grow together, of Christ love and agony. Won't you let me be your servant? Let me be as Christ in you. That I may have the grace to let you be my servant too.
Good morning again. Today we're going to talk about a very exciting topic, otherwise known as failure. Okay. Has anyone here ever failed at anything? Did anyone just fail in telling the truth about 2 minutes ago? Okay, just checking. So failure seems to affect all of us in different ways and at different times, and of course there's a wide spectrum of what failure means, right? If you have a dessert go bad when you make it, it's a failure, but is it a crisis? No. You tear up your house, that's a whole different thing. You lie to your mom, that's a failure. So I want to tell you a little bit about an artist that I love. This gentleman created the most beautiful art back in around the 1920s, and he had loaned it to a gallery so that they could display that art. And they were putting it in movie theaters and different places like that. And then one day he came to pick up his art, and they said, "Oh no, per your contract, we have the right to claim the art forever." They took all of his art that he had done in his whole career, took it for their own completely, and they never gave it back. That's what the story says. Anybody want to know who that artist is? You have to wait till the end of the sermon. We're in the book of John, but we talk mainly in this passage about who? Who did we talk about? What was that? Peter, Simon Peter. Very good. So he was Simon and his name became Peter, correct, right? All right. And we talked about that we're on the Sea of Tiberias and we're on the Sea of Galilee, which is the same thing at that time. And I want to know, how do I phrase this? What do you do when somebody you love passes away? How do you handle that moment in time? A friend of mine, when her husband passed away, she spent the whole rest of the day cleaning her house. My next door neighbor, when his dad passed away, he went out and mowed the yard. Seems a little strange, but has anybody else ever had done something like that? Yeah, you get it. You need to kind of get through that day, and stuff's got to be done, so you can't stop now. This is not the time, because the relatives will be over in about an hour, so we got to get the house clean, and you just go pushing yourself over and over and over. So it's my perception that that's where this story kind of picks up, because we've just had the resurrection, right? We've had the crucifixion, all is well in that spectrum, and then they don't know what to do at that point because Jesus is gone as far as they're concerned. So imagine them all hanging out on the beach, just talking, just trying to get through what happened in their life, and Simon gets in that mood where he's just like, I have to do something now. We're going fishing. Simon, and what we're told, Simon doesn't tell us that he invited anybody else to go fishing. He just said, I'm going fishing, and the others decided to jump along. Anybody ever been through something like that? How many people actually fish in here? I know Vanessa does, and she's out there. We're fishing? Great. For those of you who don't know, I grew up in southern Louisiana. I lived about 15, 20 minutes from the coast. So all you did on the weekends was play baseball or you went fishing. And we got real excited in life because my dad was able to get a shrimp boat of his own. I don't know how many of you have gone shrimping. That's a whole different ballgame. It's the coolest thing in the world to me. Because when you go out for fish, you throw your rod in, you do everything, and you only catch one fish at a time. But when it's the shrimping net, have you seen those? They're massive. They throw them out on each side of the boat, and they drag behind the boat for sometimes up to half an hour or so. Then you pull it in, and I wish you guys could have known my mom. She was just a ball of energy. She couldn't wait for that net to come back in the boat because she just wanted to open up and see what it was. It was, oh, a crab. Oh, this. Oh, I don't know what that is. Throw it back, And you would just get all kinds of things in your net. And part of this passage we've already gone through where they tell us to be fishers of men, right? For some reason, we think we're going to get the exact fish that we need at any given moment that will fill the gap that we need. We need somebody to do marketing. Go catch us a marketer. Doesn't really work like that. I always view catching people like catching shrimp. There's room for everybody in their net. Everything's wonderful. Worst case scenario is you get too many shrimp, right? That's how I look at everybody here. I can look and see different gifts from people all around the room. Everybody brings something else to the table. Some of you I've known for 20 years now, I guess. Others maybe 20 minutes. But you're here for a reason. And we're very glad that you're here. And I'm going to pick on a few people like my friend Will, who's with us today. I'm very excited to see that. Will's an amazing singer. You need to get him to sing for you sometime. I know because I taught him. So Peter has decided to go get in the boat, and they go out fishing. And they fish all night, all 7 of them. And what happens when they get first thing in the morning? They're ready to come in. However, there's a problem with this. What could it be? They didn't catch any fish. They're fishermen by trade who can't catch a fish overnight. Not something you put on your webpage, okay? But they go in, and as they're coming back, they see this man on the shore. And you got to remember, they say it's dawn, early light, so it's you can kind of tell what's there, but you really can't. But they can tell somebody is talking to them, and they're saying, "Hey, did you catch anything?" And I love the Bible goes into long speeches of what people say, but their response to that question is simple: "Nope." We caught nothing, basically. And as the boat keeps coming in, and I picture them talking with the person on the beach, and it gets closer and closer, and Peter realizes who it is. It's Jesus. This is now the third time that he's appeared before them since the crucifixion. And Jesus says to them, "Hey, take your net, put everything on the right side of the boat, and then let's go for it." What happens when they do that? They catch it. Pop quiz, how many fish do they catch? Little side note, I love reading Bible codes and finding out what little meanings of words and all that. Technically, there is no code behind the number 153. It's just they call it, they're fishermen, they know how to keep count of their fish, it's kind of their job, so they call it 153 fish. Boom, that's it. So Peter, let's just take a little back step with Peter. How many about the story where he decides he's going to leave the boat and walk on water to see Jesus? Anybody remember that story? And the Bible says, I think he gets 2 steps, and he panics because he doesn't believe he's doing it, although he's actually already doing it. He's outside the boat on the water, but he decides he can't stand the water anymore, so he panics and bloop, yep. Would you consider that a failure? God is calling you, come over here, and you're like, "Oh, I can't, I'm scared. Never mind, I'm going to go back to the boat." How about when Jesus was praying in the Garden of Gethsemane? And Peter does what? Falls asleep. You guys are doing great. I'm giving you 1,000 questions. But Jesus falls asleep, and what does Jesus say to him? You couldn't even stay awake for 2 hours. Now here we are. We've got the third night, and this is one that I think is kind of important because, see, Peter was lurking by fire to trying to overhear Jesus' trial. And 3 times a servant girl claimed and said, "You're one of Jesus' followers. I know you. You're with him. You know each other." And what does he do? He denies it. You panic over water. And now you're in a position where all you have to do is acknowledge God, and you can't do it. This one, I don't want an answer for. I just want you to think about it. Has there ever been a moment in your life that due to whatever circumstances, you either flat out denied God, or you didn't acknowledge that you knew him? I had days like that I remember the kids, were going to just tear me up and do things, and I didn't claim things. And silence is not always golden. Silence can be very painful. But it's one of the failures in my life that I allowed that to happen. I don't know if any of you have ever been through anything like that, where you're being called on the carpet about your faith, and it's hard to say it sometimes. First time somebody told me I was coming to MCC, I didn't know what kind of church this was, so I didn't say anything about it. Then I got here, and I was like, I love this place. So we know that Peter has now denied Jesus 3 times. Just to get a timeline, he denied him. We then have the crucifixion and the resurrection. See where we are in the story? And now we've come along, and they're seeing Jesus for the 3rd time. Jesus talks to them and invites them to the shore. They get to the shore, they have trouble pulling the net up because, again, it's got 153 fish, and these are not goldfish. These are substantial fish that have a little weight to them. But Jesus, I think it's funny, they notice several times in the story that the fire that Jesus had waiting for them was charcoal. Which, at first I didn't get it, then I was like, oh, charcoal doesn't just grow everywhere. There's something special had to go in the preparation of that. They didn't just grab sticks together and put them on fire. This was a full-fledged charcoal meal. that they had the bread and the fish, and Jesus is there to do what? Serve who? Jesus is serving the disciples. Ring a bell for the Last Supper? Jesus goes around and serves people. A lot of these stories are cyclical. If you listen to one, you'll find out, oh, that's similar to what happened over here. Oh, that connects with this. I love all that stuff. But we're getting to the point now that they get on the shore and they're talking to Jesus. And Peter starts getting a little rattled because Jesus asked him a question 3 different ways. Do you love me? Then feed my sheep. Do you love me? Then care for my sheep. Do you love me? Then care for my lambs. Do those questions seem a little similar at all to something else? Do you know Jesus? Nope. Are you sure you don't know Jesus? No. 3 denials and 3 chances for Peter to redeem himself by answering this question saying, yes, Lord, I love you. And Peter gets a little frustrated by question number 3. I think by that point he realizes what has happened. And have you ever had that moment where you just flat, I don't know the proper word for it, but busted? You got busted for doing something, and it's not up for discussion. You know that they know that you know that they know that they did it. Okay, it's all done. Yeah, that happened to me a lot. And if I didn't get busted on my own, my brother was quick to point it out to my mom and dad. So Peter's now in the situation of having to sit and have a meal and be served by the gentleman that basically he forsook. What's the word? Is that right? Forsook, okay. For the one he sold out. That's what happened, okay. So Peter's there, he's facing Jesus, and Jesus is asking him very simple questions. Do you love me? If you do, take care of my people, is basically what it says. That's a very big statement in itself. Jesus never once mentions, why did you do what you did? Have you ever let somebody just get along and move on to the reconciliation and quit rehashing the initial incident? Or do you have to go through the incident with them? How do you operate? I'm chicken. I don't like to hash things out. I'd rather just move on to the what are we going to do next? But everybody does this different. But I just love the way this happened. Jesus is not chastised him one time. And he sold him out for his death. All he says is, do you love me? What would happen if there was somebody in your life that had done something like that and you could just look at them and say, hey, do you love me? If that's all they said and they said yes all of a sudden, would you be okay with that theory? Would you let somebody just say, I love you? Now, Peter he's a little brave when he actually pushes back on Jesus the 3rd time and says, I've told you this now. I'm like, ooh, you better step light. So I want to go back and talk a little bit about failure. We all go through life, and all jokes aside, the spectrum of failure that we have in our life can be overwhelming. And it literally can be, you lost your job, you lost your home, you lost your spouse. All of those things, it can be simple down to, you can't find your car keys one day. If you want to know what pain is, that can be painful. These things happen in our life. You're not going to find anybody in this room who's not had failure somewhere along the way. It's what you do with that story that changes everything in the world. How you deal with it. How many of you ask for help when you've actually failed at something? Anybody able to do that? It's a wonderful gift. If you can do that and just say, hey, I messed up. I need your help, please. So when we talk about them being at the beach, I want to close with a little story. I go to Rehoboth Beach almost every year, or I did until COVID hit. I haven't been back since then. And I would run into some of our own people up here at the beach from time to time. And I go with a group of people who are part of we'll call it a fellowship or a club, whatever you want to call it. And there's about 180 of us that go up to the beach together. And we have now secured, there's close to 30 to 40 houses, rental houses, all in the same general area that we rent together. and everybody runs into each other's house. We have dinner together every night. We break bread. It's a loving situation. And one of our members died. And I'll never forget going to the beach and just the first day going to the beach without Steve. It was overwhelming, to say the least. Because you don't want to get mad, but you're mad. You don't want to get hurt, but you're definitely hurt. You know, and learning to